You have the designs, the vision, and the audience. Turning a creative concept into a physical garment is the exciting part of launching a brand. But almost immediately, independent designers hit a brick wall. Most factories ignore emails from new brands, or flat out refuse to take their orders. The rejection comes down to MOQ. That stands for minimum order quantity, the smallest number of units a factory is willing to produce per style and color. For standard overseas factories, that number sits between 500 and 1,000 pieces. Committing to 1,000 pieces per style requires locking up thousands of euros in upfront capital before a single item has been sold to a real customer. If the fit is slightly off, or the market doesn't respond to that specific design, those 1,000 pieces become dead stock, boxes of unsold inventory sitting in a garage, quietly draining the business. To test a market safely, startups require a different supply chain model, low MOQ manufacturing. This approach allows brands to order 50 to 150 pieces per style. The primary threat to a new clothing brand is not poor design, it is the inability to validate products in the real world without risking bankruptcy on excess inventory. The traditional solution for securing a low per-unit cost is manufacturing in Asia. These facilities are optimized to produce massive volumes at razor-thin margins. But a low invoice price hides significant logistical costs. Ocean freight from these massive ports introduces transit times of 30 to 40 days. Brands wanting to avoid those delays and high minimums often look to premium, small-batch European manufacturing hubs like Portugal. Portugal offers excellent quality and proximity, but the unit economics are steep. For early-stage startups, the higher manufacturing costs in Western Europe often erase the retail profit margins required to grow. Istanbul's garment district serves as a strategic middle ground for European brands looking to balance cost, speed, and volume. Turkey is Europe's third-largest textile exporter. Its infrastructure is built on decades of experience handling fast, small-batch production runs for major retailers. Producing here means accepting a moderately higher base unit cost than Asia in exchange for rapid shipping speeds and access to low minimum orders. Moving production to the Near East allows European clothing startups to test new designs quickly, lowering financial exposure while maintaining retail-ready quality. To evaluate if this trade-off makes financial sense, we have to calculate the total landed cost. The raw invoice price of a garment is only a fraction of what a brand actually pays to get that product into a customer's hands. This matrix shows comparative data for producing a standard 300-gram hoodie across 4 global manufacturing regions. For minimum order requirements, Turkey offers accessibility at 50 to 150 pieces, contrasting the 500-unit floor required in Bangladesh. On base unit price, Turkey sits at roughly 12 to 18 euros per hoodie. It occupies the middle ground between Asia's single-digit rates and Portugal's premium pricing. But the deciding financial variable for European brands is a policy from 1996, the EU-Turkey Customs Union. This is a trade agreement allowing goods to travel between member states without tariffs. Under this union, clothing manufactured in Turkey enters EU member states with a 0% import duty. Imports from China and Bangladesh face a standard 12% penalty at the border. Erasing a 12% tariff immediately offsets Turkey's higher initial invoice price when competing against small-batch Chinese imports. Then there is the disparity in delivery speeds. An order from China spends nearly a month in transit, while Turkish production reaches the EU in 3 to 7 days. This geographic advantage allows goods to cross the Bosphorus and reach distribution hubs in London, Berlin, or Amsterdam via rapid courier. Saving 30 days in transit means a brand can rapidly restock a sold-out size before customer interest fades, preventing lost revenue. These low MOQ facilities also provide full private label services, meaning woven tags, specialized acid washes, and branded polybags are applied before the garments ever leave Istanbul. When you factor in the eliminated tariffs, expedited shipping times, and the absence of dead stock, a higher invoice price in Turkey yields the lowest total landed cost for a small batch run. This timeline outlines the chronological steps to produce a first collection with a low MOQ manufacturer in Istanbul. The process begins with a design brief and a tech pack. A tech pack is a technical specification document that tells the factory exactly how to build your garment, including fabric weights, measurements, and finishing details. Based on those specs, a physical sample is produced and shipped to the designer for review. This sampling phase takes roughly 7 to 14 days to ensure the fit is accurate. Once the physical sample is approved, bulk production begins. For small orders under 200 pieces, manufacturing requires 15 to 25 days. Designers can use this pipeline to source premium textiles, including GOTS-certified organic cotton and OE Cotex certified fabrics. OE Cotex is a strict global standard, ensuring textiles are tested and verified free from harmful chemical substances. From initial concept to delivery in Europe, this specific 5 to 8 week pipeline gives a brand a predictable, retail-ready supply chain. But Turkish manufacturing is not a universal solution. The benefits depend entirely on a brand's specific business model. This decision tree maps out the optimal manufacturing path based on a brand's primary operational constraint: capital, speed, or unit cost. The first ideal candidate for nearshoring is the independent European designer launching a debut collection. If capital is the main constraint, avoiding inventory risk makes Turkey the clear choice. The second candidate is an established streetwear or athleisure brand operating on a limited edition drop model, where speed to market is the priority. The drop model relies on capturing momentary internet hype. It necessitates fast 3 to 7 day turnaround times to get physical products to buyers while the demand is still peaking. However, there are specific profiles that should avoid this pipeline altogether. Brands competing purely on bottom-dollar pricing in the fast fashion sector cannot absorb Turkey's baseline costs. They require the massive scale and rock-bottom unit pricing that only Asian megafactories provide. Additionally, non-EU brands based in the United States or Australia do not benefit from the 0% customs duty, removing one of the primary financial incentives of producing in Istanbul. Ultimately, Turkey's manufacturing sector is optimized for brands that prioritize rapid market testing and premium quality over securing the absolute lowest invoice price. Choosing a manufacturing partner is not a search for the cheapest factory on earth. It is about aligning your supply chain architecture with the actual financial realities of your business.